Hey, everybody, CodePen Radio number 408. I have Stephen Shaw back on here. I roped him in for this one. Yeah. And it's just one that I had on my list because I really actually do want to do this podcast, but I don't have that much to say. Might be a short one. And just because it's, it's relatively interesting to me, but it's one of these projects that we haven't worked on in a while. And it's kind of like, what did we do there again? And here's the hook. Here's the YouTube thumbnail. This is a gray hat technique. Just saying, I really roped Steven into this because Steven's a white hat kind of guy. I can tell you that right now.
Well, I'm excited to talk about this. As you know, proxies are my passion. So, but I know you put a lot of work into this. So I'll let you explain things and get into the specifics.
You're here to just keep me on the rails a little bit. It's gray hat. What I mean by that is white hat means you're just all good and everything you do is just like morally sound or whatever. And black hat is like it's like a hacker term, like you're obviously doing something illegal or immoral or against the good spirit of the web in some way. Gray hat is a thing that's a term that means kind of like it's not like fully evil but is it though? I don't know, it's just easy to put in that case. Okay, so it's gray hat. We're going to talk about something gray hat, and we're doing it at CodePen. Ooh, spicy.
Yikes.
And here's what it is. It's like Shaw already said, it's just a proxy. So let's start out talking about ad blockers. So many browsers have ad blockers. I'm on this journey of I switch browsers every week. I really am. I'm homeless.
What's the latest?
Browsers.
What's the latest you're on here?
I'm in Edge right now, believe it or not, wow. Microsoft. Yeah. But my main has been for 2 weeks now, Zen browser from Firefox. It's the closest Arc clone out there, I think, although it's very obvious to me which things it hasn't completed from the Arc journey yet, but it's nice. It's okay. The thing that's been killing me, you saw this, I logged this, that Unicode characters, a little star or a little arrow, they render literally 50% of the size as they do in Chrome.
Oh, right. Yeah, the icons
they're
showing
tiny.
Up small. Yeah.
Emojis too. It's remember in Arc, you're still on Arc probably.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I screen shared with you.
Hanging on to that for dear life.
There's spaces at the bottom. You can give them an emoji. I don't know if you even bother or if you even use spaces, but they're nice and
plenty.
They're normal emojis. I don't know what normal is because I know emojis are whatever size you want them to be pretty much. But I don't know, normal 16 pixels, let's call it. And so now I'm dealing with all these little tiny icons around the web in Firefox. The icons in Zen, the little emojis at the bottom are really small too. I'm like, God, am I getting old? Make them bigger. Jeez, they're tiny.
Is it a Firefox thing? Is that?
I don't know. We haven't even figured out if it's a Firefox thing or a CodePen thing on our site.
Yeah.
Yet. Because you thought it might be some weird stuff we're doing, but
yeah,
I was not able to.
Those specific icons are wrapped in a font size 0 container
I know, but
to hide some text. I
tried to mess with that and it didn't work.
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know about that font size 0 trick. I don't know why we decided to roll that baby out. It's like an old timey trick.
Yeah, that's classic CSS.
It was. I think it was to fight line height or a gap or with a space or something, and you're like, well, I just reset this font size bigger on the child anyway.
Well, so the DOM of that, not to derail this podcast, but the DOM of that we can't actually touch. We can't edit the DOM of that particular element that we're trying to style, and so it's got its own label in there. And we just wanted it to be an icon. So I think you added it with a pseudo element, added an icon. But you can't just directly hide the text that's in an element unless it has some kind of wrapper. So the font size 0 is there to hide that text.
It's just a trick to hide it?
I think, yeah.
Now I can't decide if I like it more or hate it more. No. Oh my gosh.
It's better than text indent negative 999.
Yeah. That's great. I'm waiting for the day where that is no longer enough pixels. We still haven't hit it yet.
In the ultra-wide monitors, it seems like we'd be hitting that.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Lost it. We're talking about browsers. I talked about browsers because so many of these new browsers, I actually don't even know if Zen is one of them, but I would say most browsers that are in the fight for trying to grab some market share and stuff out of the world now that it's I don't know if it's easier, but it feels like it might be easier to like enter the alternative browser market these days. One of the things that almost all of them toss in as a feature is like extra security. We build in an ad blocker already. It seems like it's probably not too much work to do that because let's say you're a Firefox clone or something, you can just pick whatever the most popular plugin is and distribute it with that already installed. Hey, you did it. Now you can say you have security as a feature. But a lot of them do. Brave, certainly from the early days, was one of those alternative browsers that had security stuff involved. And I don't know what it all means. Maybe there's lots and lots of features of it, but certainly it means like blocking web requests sometimes under some circumstances. I think there's some big lists out there, like known URLs that are for advertising companies, analytics companies, / tracking companies, stuff like that. And if you're on that list, a plugin will download that list on the daily or something and just make sure that any request to that URL is blocked, just turned off and not happened at all.
Yeah, most of them have some concept of lists that you can like subscribe to, that somebody's already put together all these third parties that you want to ignore, like Facebook or different ad trackers, like
famously
all that,
Google
all that kind
stuff. And dude, I get it. There's so many bad websites. I run a freaking ad blocker. Get out of here.
Yeah.
That you go to it and it's atrociously covered in ads to the point where
even with ad blockers, like you've got the cookie scripts, you've got, modals telling you to subscribe to the newsletter. Yeah.
Well, that's a good segue actually, because a cookie script is probably a little piece of JavaScript, but it's probably served from the domain of the website itself, because it was implemented on that website by some web developer that works on that website. Thus, it's not blocked usually, right? That's kind of where I'm getting at with the proxy kind of thing. And I don't have any problem with any of this. Like, go ahead. It's your computer. It's your network. It's your bandwidth. It's your everything. You can block whatever you want. That's the beauty of the web in a way. Okay, so the gray hat part comes in as like, we have an analytics thing that we're using that's called Full Res, that's by the company Buy Sell Ads that I've worked with personally. We work with on CodePen forever, for 15 years. I don't know, a long time. Famously, they're not on some of these lists. Somehow, some way, they do such like ethical advertising stuff that there's no tracking. They take care of it. They anonymize IPs, whatever they do. Yeah. There's even some ad blockers that just let buy sell ads through. That's pretty cool. And I'm happy to work with them. That's one of the reasons that I like them in a way. But plenty of ad blockers block them too. I mean, they serve ads, so block them, whatever. Anyway, this thing Full Res is like, I think they just, as companies do, want to grow into new products and yada, yada, yada. So they have this analytics company now called Full Res, and we are like an early trial on it. And I wanted to try it, partially because they were all friends and we could give them feedback and whatever, and which meant it was kind of discounted for us. Here's another. I'm just going to derail this again because that's what podcasts are. Did you know that CodePen is like priced out of like tons of SaaS products? We're such a weird company that the internet SaaS companies are just not built for us. Like we'll have a meeting with some analytics company and they'll be like, oh, how many users do you have? I don't even know what it is lately. Are we even public about it? I probably shouldn't say, but it's a big ass number,
It's large. And then it's large.
Yeah, it's large and whatever. I'm proud of that, right? Good job us. Oh my God, you can see them rubbing their hands together. And then you get a quote that's like, this is $75,000 a month or something. And you're like, I was looking at like $75 a month. Do you have something in that range? It's because we're weird. We have a lot of users, but we're 6 people over here. Yeah. And I think we are a perfectly tenable company. This works as a company. Do I wish we made way more money? Of course I do. I'm a filthy capitalist, apparently. I mean, not, but whatever. I do wish we made more money, but that's neither here nor there. We make plenty of money now. We're like doing good as a company, and we should be able to continue doing that. Well, what it means though is we can't buy tons of SaaS products that are priced in that particular way. Analytics, for the most part, is just out. for us. It's like roll your own or whatever, because you ain't buying it. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But because we get it so discounted from full res, we are able to use it. So sweet, right? So we use it, and it involves, like all analytics company do, putting a little piece of JavaScript on your page, because that gives you APIs that are basically like dot track event or something like that. All of these analytics companies have it. And it's a way for you to kind of send them a little object of data that tracks an event. Oh, they clicked the button that said deploy pen. We want to know that. And our database isn't particularly well suited for that job. Like it could be, but we'd probably have another database to do it. Whatever. We're not like analytics specialists. It's like it can be an awful lot of data, etc. So you use a service for this that is just for that. We send them that event. But the only way that JavaScript's going to execute is if that little piece of JavaScript that's hosted on something like whatever assets.fullres.com is able to load, right? Okay, so that's the situation we're in. That JavaScript needs to run for us to get these analytics. Some people think analytics at all is maybe a little gray hat. I don't. I've run some, I don't really care that much about them. I don't put a lot of stock in them, but it can be useful sometimes, especially when we're launching a new product like this. We want to know what people are going to use. We want stuff like that. We have made decisions in the past based on the usage of certain features and stuff. So sometimes it's like the user performed this action. I want to know it, but I'm not tracking necessarily who you are exactly and all this stuff. Nor have I ever sold it, made money off of it, done anything weird with it. We have a long track record of being just fine with our analytics data.
It's gray hat just got a little white.
It's just usage.
We want to know how y'all use CodePen, what features are important to you, and without any kind of analytics, like we get a sense.
In a way, we don't know
from social media or support requests or whatever. Like if we break something and a lot of people write in, that's a great hint that it's important to people. But with analytics, all the little things that people aren't necessarily going to write in about or even notice as much if it's broken or if it's changed. That gives us the information we need to kind of prioritize things and work out kinks in the UI.
So what does it matter about all this blocking and not blocking and all that stuff? Well, I opened up the show saying how many people use, how many of y'all use ad blockers? Too many. A lot of you do. And what say there's some trend amongst your cohort of people that use ad blockers, which full res is totally on these lists, by the way. So it does get blocked. That is a common trait. What if 60% of you use ad blockers and all 60% of you love one particular feature that the other 40% doesn't? That sucks. That makes our data bad and wrong. And we're trying our hard to be good and right. And so because we know we're not doing anything weird with your data, we're just tracking a little bit of usage data, and it's pretty lightweight, by the way. There's not a lot going on there. We do this thing where we don't link up the JavaScript from whatever assets.fullres.com. Instead, there's a URL that we invented on our website that's hosted at CodePen.io, which you can't really block because then CodePen doesn't work. Yeah, whatever. But I will say, if you're listening to this and you're like, you filthy bastards, I want to block this. Well, you can, and I'll tell you what the URL is. Oops, I had it open here. It's in our little Wrangler deal because we use Cloudflare to do this. And then
CodePen.io/stats.
Yeah, and then there's stuff after it. But if you really hate this, you got to block CodePen.io/stats. That's right. Which isn't even that obscure, really. Don't block it from anywhere else, because CodePen really will stop working for you if you do that. But if you have a bee in your bonnet to stop our analytics, CodePen.io/stats is what you need to block. And that it's such an interesting URL because we don't really serve anything from it. We set up what's called a proxy that Sean mentioned early on. A proxy is, I don't know, I'm not going to explain what a proxy is. I'd probably screw it up, but it's kind of like a redirect in a way, but it's not really a redirect because the browser never notices that content was actually served from assets.fullres.com because our proxy server side or some server somewhere in the world does the fetch for that content, and then it returns it from our CodePen.io URL as if we served it. It's like a secret. It's a secret transition. You don't even know.
Mask.
Yeah, and the absolutely perfect tool for this job in the world is a Cloudflare worker. It's a little piece of JavaScript that runs at the edge. Well, I haven't said the edge in a while. The edge was so hot for a while.
Is that still priority in the cloud?
I think so. I don't know.
Cloud
it just
edges.
means that like there's not one location, because you know what, there is one location for some of CodePen. Maybe not all of it, because we run CDNE stuff. But for example, our database, we don't have a copy of the database in Japan. There's one location, and it's somewhere. I won't say it just in case Alex is like, "Why'd you say that?" It's somewhere on Earth, and that's where that data is. There's only one of them, but there's lots and lots and lots of copies of our proxy JavaScript that runs at the edge, baby. And that code execute. Cloudflare runs it for us, and it does the little thing where it goes out to the URL and grabs the full res script and then serves it for us. So that JavaScript gets run a lot. And it because it runs at the edge, it's really fast. You don't even notice it. It's like basically unnoticeably fast. Kind of cool. There's a little bit of code that's required to do this, though. That's not the only job a Cloudflare worker can do. Cloudflare workers are awesome. They can do all kinds of stuff. And it's just like in the way of a web request is kind of how I think about it. It's a somebody described it once as a man in the middle attack at yourself.
Yeah. It's just it gives you an opportunity to make some changes to a request or to something
Totally.
about the page that's delivered.
Yeah, up to and including like changing headers, changing HTML, whatever you want to do. It's amazing. And
We've used that for a long time with our asset stuff like that. That's part of the reason.
Is that a worker? Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Totally.
That's part of the reason we have like some of the image optimization URL kind of stuff. Like all that is powered through Worker.
Nice. Yeah, and the new editor is going to use it a lot, like almost like worrisomely a lot. There's going to be a lot of workers involved in this new thing. I think we have some hardcore enterprise plan though, or whatever. Cool. So one of our Cloudflare workers, which is in our mono repo, of course, and deployed along with everything else that we do, we just call it our analytics proxy, and it's just a little bit of code. In fact, this code is, I'm sure it was mostly written by us, but I remember Full Res giving a version of this to us. This is a somewhat common need or request from their customers. Is like, of course we're going to proxy our analytics. I didn't realize how common of a thing that was. It's just like in their docs. Like, oh, you want to proxy it? Here's like a chunk of code that if you want to use Cloudflare to do it. Which, I don't know, relatively surprising, but smart, because it's not that different customer to customer, it's just a proxy. But it's not as simple as get request, fetch other URL, return what other URLs. It's only just a little bit more complicated because the request itself to full res extracts a little like information, because like most analytics products, you want to know like how many people visited from Germany and stuff like that. And it knows that because IP address, which is just kind of public information. And then I think there's one other header that's interesting called X forwarded for that matters for some reason. And so we need to get the original request and then make the request to full res with the headers from the original request. So we need to like do a little bit of header manipulation and stuff. And then it all works. And that's basically the whole story.
Straight up little JavaScript fetch after the headers are modified.
You literally have to do a fetch. But it's like that's what browsers are doing anyway. It feels weird, like really I have to do it my own network request, but it's like, yeah, that's how browsers work, it's really not that weird. So that's it. So you could what we don't do it for? Buy sell ads. We just hit buy sell ads directly because we want you to block that if that's what you want to do. We're not trying to be sneaky with our ad serving. We'd probably make more money if we did. Probably wow, I shouldn't even think about this. I'll probably go to bed thinking about it too. I'm like, how much more money?
We could probably afford one of those other analytics services, right?
Yeah, maybe. But no, we just roll through buy sell ads directly because we just don't proxy that, Yeah. But is that all we proxy? It might be at the moment. I think I had ideas of proxying other things, of tools that we don't even use anymore that also were kind of in the analytics, I don't know, zone.
I don't think there's anything else that we do. The assets is kind of a proxy, because that's like those are hosted not through the actual URL that they're like served from.
Right.
And
those
so
don't even use R2, do they? I don't think so. They should, but they don't.
We did some experiments at one point. I don't remember where we landed with it though. I think
it's like
Amazon.
It is a proxy because there's kind of like maybe it does. There's some kind of cool two-way proxy where like you can make the canonical source S3, which I think some DevOps people just like feel good about because whatever, AWS has decades of doing right, whereas R2 just came out and is a little bit like, what's going on? And I remember Alex at one time, it might have just been a test or something, but set up a thing that's like, if the URL, if we didn't have it yet in R2, it would like go get it from S3 and put it in R2 and then serve it from there. So it would like build itself up as like a cache on the way. And it was advantageous to do it because R2 has this amazing deal where you don't pay for what they call egress, but it's really bandwidth. I mean, it's bandwidth and really, I don't know. Maybe, is it the same word? I don't know. Egress, I think, just means incoming and outgoing. It's like the both. And you just pay for storage. So we're all about it. Should our assets be on R2? Yeah, they definitely should. But I think we get some of the benefit anyway because they're cached. They roll through a Cloudflare CDN. So whatever. If you're getting an asset from CodePen, it's very definitely going through Cloudflare, which probably saves us money in the end. And then, like you said, it just so happens that they offer a bunch of cool features if that asset happens to be an image where you can resize it and rotate it. And what's the useful one? The like make it smaller one.
There's like a auto format kind of thing,
or format. Like, that's really useful.
Serves WebP if the browser supports it, or falls back to like JPEG or something like that.
Isn't that funny? Like AVIF came out and it was like, this is so good. It's like WebP was cool. You thought WebP was cool. AVIF is really cool, and nobody supports it. And I think it's early on. It was like, well, it's because the cost of converting it was a little heavy. Like it's a little slow to run a converter. And when you have a URL that's just like, I don't know, served whatever format is best, I think it represents like very significant costs for them to like roll out a new format that's a little slow to convert.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
it looks like Cloudflare supports the AVIF, where it
are they now?
It does that with WebP as a fallback. I don't know if like the format.
Well, that's good.
Format auto will serve WebP,
if you go format
or
auto
AVIF.
in Chrome.
Yeah. Yep.
I always thought it'd be nice too. I remember early on testing it that like it's not always better in a way that WebP was like almost always better. AVIF had more of like a 70% hit rate or something. And you're like, well, then the logic gets harder then. You can't just be like, if AVIF support, then serve it in AVIF. Yeah. It's like 30% of the time it'd be heavier. Do not quote me on those numbers. I'm sure they're wrong, but it felt dangerous. It felt like what should happen is not only serve the best format, but try out all the formats and give me the one that's the smallest.
Best quality to size ratio?
Yeah. But can you do that fast? Can you figure that out on the fly fast enough to serve the image? Ooh, that's
and
that's
how,
like quantum computing stuff.
How can you judge that? Like the computer can't necessarily know like what is higher quality visually to a human versus.
That's a good point. It just can't possibly know, right?
Yeah. Like JPEGs and the color red like always compresses really weird. That visually, or like if you were scanning that with whatever is analyzing the image, you wouldn't necessarily see that, but a human can tell.
Well, I remember what it was. It was app queues. We proxied app queues because we ran our like tours and stuff through that, remember? And we were like, dude, the tour like super needs to work.
Yeah. Don't want
But
to
it
block
just
that.
so happened that app queues had like analytics stuff in there, so they landed on some of these lists that it would block. Or maybe companies used it to do really like gross. Because
They had an analytics aspect to it too. Like it would
they
help
did. It was actually
track
kind of
things.
good, I thought.
Yeah.
But people use it to do like those like slide in from the bottom left. Do you want to, sign up for our newsletter and stuff? You could use app queues for that, and that put it firmly in the category of obnoxious sometimes. We didn't do that, of course, because of our extreme taste.
Our white grayish hats.
Yeah, let's say they're very light gray. We're like we're like EEE. That's the color.
Tan hat, maybe.
Yeah,
it's fine.
What's the hex code? You got to memorize it. All right. Let's not drag it out. Good enough. We did an episode. You love it.
We'll serve this through a proxy. If you don't love it, you can block it.
We almost surely do. Actually, okay, I really am going to drag it out for 1 second. There was this. We used this WordPress plugin called Seriously Simple Podcasting or something that I think does a pretty good job. It's fine, But they offer a stats tool, and it's another separate plugin. And I used it on our site, and I should actually just tell them and report the issue, but I just didn't. Sometimes when something's broken, you're like, I don't care. Just get it away from me, Because I actually don't. I love all of you that are listening to this podcast very much, but I don't actually care how many of you there are. Like whatever. I don't need to know that. There's other ways of finding out that information, including our Cloudflare stuff. That I don't need this like extra little WordPress plugin, and it broke. It proxied our MP3, and their proxy broke. So that needed to go.
Yeah.
Proxies, dangerous. You heard it here.
But sometimes good.
Okay, we're going to be done. Thanks, Stephen, for being dragged through the mud.
Yes.
Sully your good name.
Senior proxy expert on the team here.
And we'll be back. Of course, there's so much to do. Maybe we should do a new editor episode soon. It has changed. Even in the 8 episodes we've been back, we've been like dropping new features like it's hot. It's still in private beta. Of course, our team is very excited about public beta, which will be coming as soon as we're ready to give it to you. There's even some interesting stuff happening, like basically benchmarking. Like private beta is fun. We can invite lots of users to private beta. A little different when you open up the floodgates. So we have to do things like hit it so hard with so many people that we need to know when it falls over. Like how many simultaneous users does our infrastructure start to fail at? So those are the kind of like little bits of information we're trying to know before we open those metaphorical floodgates. Pretty good, you'd say, right? And we design the system so we can buy our way out of it if we need to.
Yeah.
Okay.
All that said, hold on to your butts. It's coming.
Hold on to your butts. It's coming. All right. Thanks, Stephen, and see you later, everybody. We'll do that. That's good. That's a good sign up.